Hello, good evening. I'm Chris. I co-wrote and directed the film you're about to watch. Thank you very much for coming out on this appalling evening. I know it's absolutely dreadful in DC at the moment. I appreciate the sacrifice you're making, not least in coming to this venue, where I understand the staff are incredibly rude. Quite without cause, they'll throw hot peanuts in your face or chuck a boiling hot drink down the back of your neck. You're lucky to get away with a very unpleasant verbal lambasting. I'm deeply sorry about that. It was the only place it would have us. Now, when I introduce the film, I normally presuppose a question, on your part perhaps, which would be why? Why make a comedy on this subject? It's not a gratuitous whim. It came from real life. There was a case of a group of Yemeni jihadis who wanted to blow up a US warship by ramming it with an exploding boat. They assembled their launch at 3 in the morning. They put it in the water, filled it with explosives, and it sank. And at that point I thought, who spoke first and what did they say? And I sort of moved on, didn't really think any more about it, but kept coming across examples like the architect of the 9/11 attacks, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, wasting 2 hours before a TV interview looking for a costume that didn't make him look fat. And then when he was on camera, he started spouting Quranic quotes and getting them all wrong. The journalist was a Muslim himself, and he said, Khalid, do you want to do that again? Because that doesn't make sense. The rest of the room were laughing at him, and this rather broke apart the sort of pristine mineral image of a mastermind of evil that we tend to get from the news media. There was a Canadian cell that wanted to assassinate the Canadian Prime Minister until they forgot who he was. They built a remote-controlled detonator to protect themselves from the effect of their own explosions. They had a range of 10 feet. And so the examples went on, whether I spoke to Muslims or intelligence analysts who call what I was discovering the bunch of guys theory. Basically, a jihadi cell operates like any other bunch of blokes. If you find a five-a-side football team, people trying to organise a stag weekend, there will be arguments, there will be disagreements, there will be a group bond, but things will not end up perfectly. And why should this phenomenon take a polite sidestep around a jihadi cell? Of course it doesn't. So in real life, we were finding funny things which were missing from the narrative that we tend to get. And that's why the film isn't just a sort of an idle-minded notion. It is in fact based on what you find. I went to court cases where the conversations were like stoner students. They were comparing who was cooler, Bin Laden or Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, by the way, was the answer. There are even sight gags. This happened actually after we made the film, but this gives you an example from real life about how ridiculous it can get. There was an attempt to assassinate a Saudi prince, which involved a man blowing himself up using a suppository bomb. Now, they'd calculated that this bomb should go off in a hard-shelled room because that would wipe out everything in the room. However, the Saudi prince was in a tent, but the guy went through with his mission anyway. He went into the tent, he said, hello prince, he hit his button and fired himself 50 feet through the ceiling. I've gone on way too long, but thank you very much for turning up tonight. I hope you enjoy the film, and if you don't, take it out on the staff.